I'm just gonna say it, you guys, I've lost my mind. It's happened. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new here, hi, my name is Sydney. I film cruelty-free beauty videos 3 times a week, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Today's video, I'm just gonna say it, you guys, I've lost my mind. It's happened. I don't know what I'm thinking. So I saw a preview of the Natasha Denona Metropolis palette a couple days ago, almost a week ago it feels like, and I saw it, I'm like, oh, pretty palette, but it's another big one. It isn't affordable. The color story is okay. I mean, it's good, but it's not great. It's not really grabbing me. I moved on from it. I'm pretty sure I put it in my like Save Your Money Saturday series that I do on my Instagram every week. And then I saw Ashley Clady's video on it, which I can link down below if you guys are interested in seeing her video. She did like a first impression review on it. And now I want it. I want it bad, you guys. I'm trying to figure out how I can buy it, which is ridiculous because that's like over $100. My birthday was just the other day, so I got some birthday money in and I'm thinking, oh, I can just treat myself and buy that palette. I have enough money to do it right now. I'm like, you cannot spend that much money on eyeshadow, you crazy person. I mean, you're not crazy if you bought that palette. I'm not calling you crazy. I'm just calling myself crazy because personally, I don't want to spend that much money on eyeshadow, but there's something about that palette, you guys, and that video, it just totally sucked me in. So today we're going to try to dupe the vibes of the Natasha Denona Metropolis palette. So I'm going to do this kind of the way that Hannah Louise Poston does it, as well as the Pocket Change. I'll link their channels down below. They kind of create singles palettes based on a color story of a palette. They don't really look for exact color dupes, just kind of similar shades that create kind of a similar look. So that's what I tried to do today. So without further ado, let's hop into the palette making. Alright guys, so we have all my singles laid out. We're not talking about that broken one. I dropped my phone on it like 30 seconds ago and I'm really upset about it. We have an empty palette and I have my iPad over there with a picture of the Metropolis palette pulled up. So now we're going to start to kind of create my Dupe the Vibes palette. So this palette does have kind of those key staple neutrals that I like to look for in every single palette. So let's get those out of the way first since they're kind of the boring shades. I'm not going to attempt to arrange it like the Natasha Denona palette. I just want to dupe the color story. So let's start with that. So I have a really nice kind of matte cream shade right here. I don't know if the palette has a shade like this because I was watching Ashley Clady's review and she said it was kind of lacking some shades for some really fair skinned people, so it might not have this kind of shade in it. Ignore the little bit of blue. Oh no, I'm mixing it. Okay, I'll deal with that later. But this is from my Winky Lux palette. It's the shade Duchess. It's from the Kitten palette. This is another shade that I reach for a lot. It's also from the Winky Lux Kitten palette and it's the shade Strut. This one does have quite a few warm browns, so I'm going to grab this one from Sydney Grace, which is called Monterey. And then I always like to have a nice deep dark brown to kind of deepen things up. I'm trying to think of where mine went. Oh, we can use this one. This one is also from Winky Lux. It's from the Kitten palette and it's in the shade Boots. So there we have kind of our staple neutrals. This is kind of where I like to start when I build any palette. So now let's move into some of the more neutral shimmery shadows. It looks like this palette has some pretty gold, some kind of greenish gold, some coppery shades. So I'm just gonna kind of throw anything that I think would be similar into this palette. So first I'm gonna grab Tea Garden from ColourPop. Honestly, I have no idea if this is similar or if it's similar to a shade in there. It kind of looks like it could be, but I think it would work so beautifully with the color story. So I'm gonna pop that in here. I'm also going to grab this shade from ColourPop. This is from their All I See Is Magic palette, and this is in the shade Save It For Later. Let me see, do I have like an orangish shimmery shade? I don't think I do in singles. I know I have them in palettes, but not in singles. So I guess that's where we're gonna stop for neutral shimmers. Oh wait, no. I want to include some kind of a highlight shade. So I'm actually gonna add this Sydney Grace highlighter in the shade Golden Wonder. This is one of my favorite products that I own from them. It's so stunning, you guys. I love using this on my eyes, on my face. So I'm just gonna throw that in here, but I think I'm gonna push it over to the side over here. So now let's move into some of the more colorful aspects of this palette. So kind of the first thing that really grabs me when I look at this palette is those really bright orange shades. So I have a couple of those super warm orangey tones in my singles collection. I definitely have, I think I have more in palettes, but let's start with the singles that I have right here. So I feel like this shade might be a little bit lighter than the oranges in the palette, but this is Julie 1. It's from Eclectic Beauty Cosmetics. I'll put the name on the screen because I know I butchered that so terribly. Ugh, I cannot say any of the shadows from that brand. This shade right here, I think this is Red Start from Sydney Grace. It's a really beautiful kind of matte, more muted orange tone. I guess I don't really have that many super punchy oranges in here, but I think we got kind of a similar vibe. Ooh, let's throw this one in too. This one I think is called Peach Crush. This one's from Sydney Grace. It's a little bit more muted, but I think it'll be a nice little transition shade. And like I said, I don't really have any metallic orangey shades like I thought I did. But now let's move into kind of those ruby shades. There's only really one, so I guess I can only throw in, well, this is my only ruby single option anyways. But this one is the shade Easy Go from ColourPop. It's a really pretty ruby shade. So I'm going to put that in here. Next, let's move on to kind of the greens that are in this palette. I have a couple green singles. Okay, I have more than a couple green singles, let's be real. But I'm not sure I have the exact tones that are in this palette. I do kind of see kind of a taupey green shade, which it kind of reminds me of the single that I have from ColourPop. It's in the shade Bashful. It's really, really gorgeous, so I'm going to put that in here. I'm also going to grab, let's throw in this deep green from Sydney Grace. I think this one's called Key Lime. It's really, really gorgeous. I think the one in the palette might be a little more emerald. It's definitely more emerald now that I'm looking at it. But I think this is really pretty and one that I would get a lot of use out of. There's also kind of a nice, really punchy olivey green that I'm not quite sure I have an exact dupe for. What I think is most similar in my collection is this shade from Looksy Beauty. It's called Green Apple, but I think the one in the Natasha Denona palette has a little bit more depth. So I'm actually going to throw in this shade as well from Sydney Grace. It's called Kiwi Fruit, and maybe I can mix those two together to get a similar shade. So I think we're good on greens for now. Let's jump into the pops of blue. I really do like those pops of blue. There's some shimmery blues, there's some matte navies, and I think it's just a really pretty color story all together. So first I'm going to grab the matte navy that I have. I think I have two actually, but this one's from Sydney Grace. It's called hashtag It's a Boy. And then I feel like, where did that shade go? Right here. This shade from Sydney Grace is called Juggler, I believe. It's this gorgeous vibrant blue. I feel like this is totally spot on for at least one of those blues. Also going to include the shade Marine Waters from Sydney Grace because I think this is also pretty close to the other blue. Oh, there's a beautiful matte yellow that I didn't include earlier when we were doing kind of warm tones. I feel like it's not as punchy as that yellow, but it's not as soft as this yellow. Maybe we'll throw in this one. This one's another one from Eclectic Beauty. I'm not sure what the name is. I'll insert it on the screen if I can find it online. But we're also going to throw that one in there. So that's my Dupe the Vibes palette. Let me bring it up so you guys can see it a little bit closer. So here it is, up a little bit closer you guys, so you guys can kind of see what's going on. Let me hop back on camera and we'll talk about how I feel about this. So here we have the completed palette. I don't know if those other shots were very good for you guys, honestly, because I couldn't really see the screen on my phone while I was filming. Seeing this again, I did this like 2 hours ago and I was filming some other videos and now I'm coming back to it. Seeing it, I see the similarities between this one and the Metropolis palette. No, it's not an exact dupe, but it does have some similar shades. Right now, this is not satisfying my want for the Metropolis palette because honestly, I think part of the reason why I want it is because I want to try that Natasha Denona formula so badly, and I've really heard that the smaller palettes, not necessarily the Sunrise palette, but like the mini palettes really don't do the formula justice, even though I know like 100 and I don't even know how much it was, over $100 for that palette, even though it's a little bit smaller. That's a ridiculous amount of money to spend on eyeshadow. So I don't know, you guys. I think I'm going to spend a couple days with this palette. I might try to come back on and do kind of a recap on it, see how I'm feeling then. But for right now, this is not quite satisfying my urge. It's showing me that I have similar colors, and usually I can kind of talk myself out of it from there. But I still want it really bad. So I think I'm going to wait a couple days, come back, update you guys on my thoughts then, maybe use this, maybe try to create some similar looks to what I've been seeing with that palette, and we'll go from there. Alright guys, so it has been a couple of days. I'm going to apologize to begin with. This isn't my normal filming setup. Yes, I have my robe on. It was cold when I got home from class, so I threw it on. And I know this probably isn't going to be perfect, but honestly, I don't have time to set up my whole filming shebang right now, so we're just going to keep this short and sweet. So now that a couple days have gone past, I do feel like the intense urge that I felt to buy this palette a couple of days ago when I filmed that video has significantly gone down. I still do want the palette. I still think it's absolutely gorgeous, and I think it would be a really fun way to kind of test out the Natasha Denona formula. But for now, I'm not going to buy it. I'm going to hold off. Maybe it's something I'll treat myself with around Christmas time if I get some Sephora gift cards or next time there's a Sephora sale. But for now, I think I can safely say no to this palette. Although I'm very thankful that it kind of gave me some inspiration to create my dupe palette, because while I haven't had time to play with it yet, I'm so excited to. I have so many ideas for some really, really gorgeous looks. So that's gonna wrap up this video for me today. Let me know in the comments below if you guys like when I dupe things with singles like this, or if you prefer when I kind of go through my collection and search for things through all my palettes. Let me know. Other than that, that's gonna be it for today. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button down below before you leave. And make sure to leave me a comment down below letting me know all your thoughts on the Metropolis palette. Do you guys think it's outrageous, overpriced? Do you like that it's a little bit smaller than her normal palette? Do you like the color story? Leave me all your thoughts down below, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!